Righty. Hello, folks. So, got a bit of a special video this week. So, previously, we've been looking at the topology of all sorts of games, but more notably, the one we did on God of War had Nate leave us a comment on the video. And if you're not sure who Nate is, I'll let him introduce himself and what he's about. But yeah, Nate, thanks so much, man. Tell us a bit about yourself before we get started.
Sure. Thanks for having me. I'm Nate Stevens. I'm art director at Respawn on the Star Wars projects. Most recent game was Jedi Survivor, which came out last year, first quarter of last year, I think. Prior to that, I worked at Santa Monica Studio for a number of years doing all the God of War games, 2, 3, Ascension, the 2018 God of War, and then I worked quite a bit on Ragnarok, but left before that shipped to go work on Star Wars because, hey, Star Wars is cool.
Yeah, also
I did have it.
Sorry.
I also worked at Blizzard for about a year on a game called StarCraft Ghost, which was unfortunately canceled, but that was a really cool game. And then I took a break from Sony for about a year and a half and was in the initial group that started Respawn for Titanfall before it was even called Titanfall. It was, I don't remember what we were calling it, but yeah. So I worked on that game a little bit. Again, I didn't stay till it shipped, but that's sort of what I've been up to.
Oh, awesome! Yeah, I say when I think of your name, Nate, I had no idea about the Blizzard thing. It's for me, it's just like Sony Santa Monica Respawn. It's cool to hear those little adventures you went on between those jobs as well, which is really cool. Like lots of experience. You're an art director currently, but you, like I say, you come from a production background in environment art, which I feel is it gives you maybe a lot of extra tools, I'd say, in a production setting. So, which is cool. But I believe so. Yep. So some of these wireframes that we did cover before. What's going to be cool about this is I have gathered some questions that were left in the comments about some of this topology, but I know we've got a few things we can cover and a few things you've added in as well. But getting us started off, the original thing that we looked at now, I believe some of these levels are what you worked on. And there are a few things that I tried to coin in terms of what's going on, but maybe we can get the actual answer of what's going on for some of these. So the main thing was, one of the first things that was killing me was this pillar. This horizontal loop on the pillar, I was guessing that maybe you're repeating the texture and maybe the texture doesn't tile and that loops in there for some reason, but tell us the magic behind the pillar because it's killing me, man.
Right, yeah. So texel density was like the base rule that everything was built around. Still is. It still should be for anyone making games. And I believe on the PS3, our target resolution was 256 pixels per meter. It was a while ago. I know for Generation 4, PS4, we were 512 per meter, and now we're 1024 per meter, which is extremely complicating things. But back then, I believe we were 256 per meter. So that line you're seeing is 2 meters high. So what that means is if you were to unwrap that pillar horizontally, it actually fits perfectly to a 2 meter grid. And it does tile. So you could duplicate the tile and you'd get a seamless tiling. And that can only happen if the UVs would go right to the edges. And since, every meter was 1024 pixels, in this case, I think it was a 2 meter piece. Maybe it was a 4 meter piece. I forget exactly. It looks like it's 2 meters. That would mean that it perfectly lines up and ends up being a 256 by 256 texture.
Yeah, because you look at the scale of it overall, imagine Kratos down here. So yeah, that loop. So it's the concept of using loops to also tile geometry as well, which I think it does get people sometimes to think, oh, I'll just have, imagine that cylinder without the cuts in. I'll just map that to something, but you can actually use geometry to tile as well, which is a really good trick, which I'm seeing that you're doing all over the shop with this stuff as well. So I figured it would be that, like that horizontal loop. It's there for a reason.
Yeah, so there's you could take the whole pillar, and just unwrap it and apply a tiling texture to it also. That's not uncommon. The thing is, though, you lose a little bit of control. The fact that was a 2 meter chunk and perfectly laid out meant that chunk could go into ZBrush. And I don't remember if I did on that one or not, but you could really sculpt it, do a very custom sculpting job on it. And then that would duplicate up.
Yeah.
So you get a better fidelity asset cutting it into like a module versus just putting like a tiling texture on it.
Yeah, and just wrapping it around the whole thing. Yeah, I get you 100%. 100%. The dotted lines. Now, this seems to be like a MIRO only viewport thing, which I love, by the way. But I did notice the terminology is a bit, I say soften and harden normals, but obviously a lot of the newer generation of artists coming up use Blender. So they're like, what do you mean? What does that mean? Do you mean sharpen? I'm like, oh yeah, because in Blender, you're sharpening and unsharpening edges, and I'm just used to that softening and hardening. So the dotted lines, I believe, are soft edges. And I was always taught if it's flat, just soften the edge because you optimize the vertex normals. But what's the reason that you do it? Is it that, or is there more to it than that, Nate?
There's a bit more to it. So a couple things is, and 3D Max has smoothing groups.
Yeah.
So it's just not having a hard edge. So basically hard edges, one, they cost more. I'm not a programmer, but I was told they cost 3 times as much memory to harden an edge. So there's a little bit of a performance reason to keep everything soft, but mainly it's because you want the normal map to do all the detail for you. As soon as you throw a hard edge in there, the normal map will never compensate for that very well. And you'll always see that very sharp line. And that just looks bad because nothing in the real world is like razor sharp like a hard edge. So the whole mentality, and this is still to this day on the project I'm working on now, is we try to make every edge be soft. We only harden if we're having a baking issue. I've heard it. I've heard this thing where like, oh, you have a UV board or you harden it. That's not ever been my experience. Like we'll keep everything soft if possible, and let the normal do all of the detailing for you. So that's why you're seeing everything look soft.
Yeah, and then you got the hard ones on the, I guess, because you're popping out some of these bricks as well. But so you're going for even more, even on those corners. I assume you're throwing in a bit of a supporting chamfer and letting that just be soft.
Yeah, nowadays, for sure. Polygons are almost free now. But yeah, back then there'd be some cost. So you would, whether you could afford the bevel, depending on how close the camera would get to it. So a lot of the buildings that are up in the background there, you might see a hard edge just because it's not up close and everything's miffed out by that point. But anything up close, you'll see way more soft than hard.
Yeah, and I like how you say, you can throw more polygons at stuff. Well, I look at these wireframes. You're throwing stuff at these environments 10 years ago, and it's like I say. I think you said in one of the comments, your engine could eat polygons. So this sort of density, what are you doing with it? Are you blending it? Are you using it for mapping? Or why so dense is what a lot of people ask. Why aren't you deleting a lot of these loops?
Yeah. A lot of this is because of proprietary engine. The Santa Monica studio makes their own engine. They don't use Unreal or anything.
Yeah.
And so a few reasons. The rule was we would, at a minimum, we'd want to vert every 2 meters. But honestly, we'd probably try to go even tighter than that, like a vert every meter or every half meter sometimes. And there's a couple reasons. One was vertex painting. To be able to vertex paint, you need some amount of topology. But the reason that's even was more common for why we divided everything up like that was for lighting. We would bake the indirect path, so all the bounce, AO, global illumination would actually be stored in the vertex for its information. We'd color the vert.
Yes. Yeah.
So if we didn't have a lot of, if the space was very wide, the bake you'd get to the vertices would be terrible. So every 2 meters was sort of our minimum, and that was for lighting, not for. It was for other reasons, like I said, vertex painting, but mainly that was a lighting thing. And something else that you kind of can't tell in the picture is because we would bake to the verts, we also stitched everything together. So if you slammed 2 objects together, you would have to cut them so there was no overlap, and that the verts would end up lining up. If not, you would get a very bad. What would happen is you would bake your lighting, and you'd get like almost a black pixel because some of the verts would be behind faces.
Yes,
and then you'd get a smear of like very dark black popping up through like corners and stuff. So we had to stitch everything together, which I don't know if you can really tell in those screenshots, but yeah, there's not much is intersecting. It's all cut together, which would take us months. At the end of those games, we just sit there stitching, put on some music, you know, do some caffeine. It just starts stitching everything together.
I think I can see it here, right? So I don't think you stitched in, if I just draw I don't think you stitched in here, but you've not pushed the verts all the way through, because I can see like a big border there. Is that correct?
Exactly. So that's actually not a very good stitching job by me, because where my mouse is, there's a section that's not lined up. We would prefer to have a vert here and then cut it so you'd get a better bake. But I believe in this case, the direct light was hitting those. And since it was being hit by the sun, there wasn't much of an AO needed, because that's, an indirect lighting pass thing. So sometimes we're a bit sloppy. But look right here. Actually, this is a very good example of it right there. See how that is stitched in?
Yeah, you're triangulating up from everything. Yeah.
Yeah. So even on the floors, it's kind of hard to tell, but these pillars are stitched into the floor.
Oh, they're in the floor. Oh, crap.
If they were just sitting on a flat plane, you would get no like darkening AO, GI bounce around the base of that. So everything is. You see right here too. See these guys? They're stitched into the side. Luckily, we do not have to do this anymore. But this was a thing.
Oh wow, I had no idea. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense, because I remember the rock. When you have a rock and you can't put a unique texture on it, you can bake the AO to the verts, and it kind of gives it some extra pop. But you're doing that with hard surface geo and architecture, and you're stitching everything. So, damn, yeah. God, yeah, I bet that took a bit of. I guess you have to kind of be modular in your geometry before you stitch it, in a way. So you can kind of take a selection of faces, and I assume each one of these. I don't know if you had feedback to change something and you'd already stitched it in. I mean, have you given yourself a bit of recovery there, or do you commit once stitching, everything's signed off, or?
We would wait till the end. So two things we do at the end of these games, and we did this a bit on the 2018 and Ragnarok games as well, is we'd wait, not the stitching, but the skirting. So skirting is where you build these skirts of geometry and feather the edges to blend stuff together. That and the stitching, we would wait till the very end. The game was practically done, because if you start doing this and then designers want to change stuff, you just throw that work out and people get sad. So
yeah.
Wait till the end to stitch. Everything here is on the grid as well, so that's really important. And anyone who's taken one of my classes or mentorships or something knows that that's sort of the first thing I try to push on people, is get all your stuff on the grid if possible, because that will help things line up. It'll help things Boolean. It'll help things stitch.
Absolutely.
But again, we don't do the stitching thing anymore. This died with the PlayStation 3.
Yeah. And if you're interested in doing mentorships, I'm going to link all of Nate's courses and mentorships below. They're 100% worth it. When you say everything's on the grid, are the points that aren't going to meet other points even on the grid? So if I take, I don't know, this here, this quad. If you can see me drawing that, just slightly down from your mouse. So would this be? Are you dividing your grid up? Because you're big on texture density. I remember in a talk you did with Alex Beddoes, you avoid scaling as much as possible, whereas a lot of studios will scale for flexibility. So when you're working to the grid, is it to the point where your faces on trims line up at 10 centimeters if they need to, or how are you making sure, how deep are you going on the grid? Just the end bits or the actual bits within the modular piece itself for trim mapping?
So there's a minimum amount. If you're making a trim, for example, you want it to be 2 meters or 4 meters or something like that on the grid, so that it lines up with texel density and a texture size. Internally, all the little points, Sometimes you'd put them on the grid, and that would be mainly for, okay, what if in the future I snap this to this? If it's on the grid, everything just ends up snapping together well. But that's not a requirement, you know what I mean? If like for an artistic reason you wanted to push something off the grid, you could totally do like trees and rocks. They're not on the grid. But architectural square, there might, you know, I tend to put things on the grid just because it has saved me further down the line when, imagine you make like a wall panel. And you snap everything to the grid, and as long as it has to look good first. That's the most important thing. But if it can look good and be on the grid, and then later you want to snap, let's say like a picture frame to it. The fact that everything's on the grid, that will just snap right away. You have no worries. It's perfect. It's not going to intersect. If you've been lenient and everything's just sort of floating, you kind of have to start eyeballing stuff, and then maybe the light leaks or there's some side effects to that. But yeah, I mean, the grid is just a tool. I tend to use it a lot. I know a lot of artists that don't use it as much, and their art looks perfectly fine. So,
okay. So, for example, if I go up here, would this, for example, be 150, or are you not measuring? Would it be 147? Like, are you measuring that deep, you personally, or to map trims, or are you just doing the bigger forms? Like if I look at this face to face and I had a grid on it, would I find that you've aligned every one of these pieces to like a 10 centimeter grid, or is that too much? Is that too in the grid? If you get me.
No, every one of these lines here are on a grid spacing of a meter. So we tried to chop it up, like I was saying, for lighting. The minimum was a vert every 2 meters, but I went for a meter. So this line is 1 meter, 100 centimeters.
Up in width and height.
In this case, in width.
And the height.
The height would vary depending on the look of the asset. You know what I mean? Like not every is perfectly tall. So it's more of the question is, where does it need to be seamless? So this was a trim that was like, some Greco-Roman style trim. Yeah. You needed to be able to tile it left to right seamlessly. So the parts that were important to be on the grid would be, 0 and 1 being like 2 meters, 4 meters, something like that. But 150, we didn't really measure like that. So the grid the grid goes down. It always halves itself, which is a fundamental thing I find artists are running into these days, because the Unreal grid by default doesn't work correctly. At least it doesn't work correctly if you're trying to use texel density. It goes like 100, it's in centimeters, right? So it goes like 100 centimeters. Yeah. That's a meter, fine. Then it goes to 50, which is great. We're halving it. And then it goes to, I believe, like 20.
Yeah.
It's incorrect. It should be 25. And then it should be 12. See, the grid is always halving and doubling. But a lot of grids, and I think Blender as well, they sort of randomly choose a thing. And so a lot of artists these days don't understand texel density because the grid default doesn't work in the way that studios actually use it.
Yeah, 100%. No, I know exactly what you mean by that. And I know a lot of people are starting to move toward vert snapping, which, that's cool, but I still think having grid fundamentals is... I think you can get away with a bit more with vert snapping, whereas with the grid, like you say, you can make things line up and have multiple variations with trim sheets. I know you're very big on texel density, which leads me to a question a lot of folks will have in terms of big objects. So if we look at Kyle Bromley's, these big stone/bone looking ribs, that's got unique detail on, but it's got some noise on it. So if it's using a unique sculpt and it's so large, how are you retaining are there any UV tricks you're doing there to trick the player? Like, how do you retain TD on large objects that go above 3-4 meters but have unique detail?
Right. So this piece by Kyle, who's a rad artist, good friend of mine, this was one big sculpt. So the first stage was he took it in ZBrush and just sculpted it. He didn't really, I don't think he thought, okay, how am I going to get texel density on this in the end? Because we know how to do it. So he just sculpted it. Then you unwrap it and you bake it and you set your UVs and you see what texel density you can get.
Yeah.
Obviously, the thing is too large to fit inside the largest texture. So 512 per meter was the target for 2018 God of War. Maybe he got 128 pixels per meter of detail. So bake it out 0 to 1 bake, but you put it in the engine and then you look at it and yeah, up close it's going to be blurry. You know, it's not at 512, it's at 128. So then we, which is pretty common in Unreal 2, and most of the studios are using, is a layered shader approach to add detail back in. So it's just like Substance Painter. Kyle would add a few layers on top with more generic tilers and tile those in at a rate that would put him back at texel density.
Yeah. Like this is, are these little pits? Are they part of the sculpt? Because they look quite sharp, or are they part of like a detail map that's been layered in?
Hard to say because I didn't make this, although I was working with Kyle when he was working on this level. Probably what it looks like to me is that is a separate layer, and they could be vertex painted also or masked in. You know, so that looks like it's a separate detail tiler texture that he's painting in spots to get detail back.
100%. And this whole asset, you know, a student might see, oh, it's been everything's been textured in Substance Painter, whereas realistically, this is multiple textures such as the moss, the rock, the pits that are being layered with shader tech to attack large objects.
Yeah, you can't do that at texel density out of Painter unless you're going to have like a
8K
16. I think 4K was like the max size for God of War.
Yeah, it's amazing to see like how you lose texel density and how you get it back as well. Nate, is there anything on these images, or maybe a top section or bottom section that you want to navigate us to and talk about in terms of what would be good knowledge for environment art topology?
So, I mean, I dropped in a few pictures at the bottom.
Yeah.
But I mean, we could probably, can we go back? I don't see the screen that you're sharing, so I'm just kind of like guessing where your cursor is. I see your mouse. Yeah, can you go? Yeah, just hover right there.
Yeah.
So a big piece like this, big pieces are always challenging, especially if you're trying to keep resolution tight or consistent. What has changed recently with, you know, mainly Unreal 5 and Nanite, and not every studio uses Nanite. So, I mean, they will still be using sort of these older tricks, but because Nanite can use so many polygons, what we're finding is for large objects, we can actually throw enough polys at it to not even need a normal map in some cases. And so that solves one issue with texel density where your bake would be at a lower resolution. We don't even need the normal map sometimes because we can just have enough topology. And so then it just becomes a matter of using a layered shader. Again, I think that's pretty industry standard with most of the studios, is where you add some layers, put in some tilers, mask them, either RGB masking or, you know, Nanite doesn't do vertex painting. But you can still use vertex painting if you want. So if you go to the bottom here, I threw in these images of this. So I didn't make this. This was a student I was working with, but I thought it was a good example because she was asking me like, what's the appropriate amount of polygons now? And if you move to the right,
I'm following
that's pretty much Gen 4. When I say Gen 4, I mean like PS4, older GTX video cards. That would have been the topology, something like that for now, all softened, of course, but that's the try count. I believe that's about 2,000 triangles, maybe a little bit less.
Yeah.
So again, if you were playing like God of War, Last of Us, anything on PS4, that's what the topology probably would have looked like in terms of density.
Okay.
So moving to the right, this is more what we're doing now. Specifically, if you're in Unreal 5 with Nanite, it can actually take weight. So this, I believe, is about 10,000 triangles, but this could be 1 million, honestly, and it will run fine. Memory is the problem. So if you use too many, even though Nanite can run stuff really fast, if you're making a big game like we're making, the mesh memory is going to add up, and then it would be like 800 gigabyte download game. So,
yeah.
so even though the tech allows you to make a rock like literally be a million triangles, it's not super practical because of the memory cost.
Is this would this be classed as Gen 5 or?
5, yeah. So PS5, Unreal 5.
Awesome.
So yeah, if currently like students I'm working with, current project I can't really talk about, but this would be more similar to the poly counts we're using and even a bit higher. And the cutoff is really how hard is this to UV? So this could be a million, but man, you're not going to UV this. You're going to kill yourself. And it's not going to make a visual difference really. Like the difference between this and a million is not that big deal. So we're just adding way more polygons these days to the point where we can still unwrap it. We still bake it 0 to 1, like we used to. There's just not much compromise anymore with the poly count. And this is what just, I think there's a big disconnect between like education and what studios are actually doing now is so many people that I work with, like outside of my day job, at Respawn, is people are still trying to be super, super cheap with polygons. And that hasn't been the case for like 10 years, maybe even longer. Like it's one of the bigger mistakes I see when people take art tests or do art is they're just trying to be overly cheap as if that wins them points, and it doesn't at all. It's like it actually makes it seem like you're getting bad information or your technique is dated.
Oh no, I can tell you for sure. I used to teach in the UK for a few years, and an asset like this, most of our lecturing team would say, even I would say 2 years ago, this was really dense. So it goes to show, and I'm trying my best to keep up to date as a lecturer. But now I know, like, I see this sort of stuff, a lot. But it's a tricky thing because you see it and you're like, oh wow, that's so dense. You can get way lower. Let the bake do the work. But the reality is, this is how it's going with studios, especially for organic, as well. But yeah, so this was decimated, I believe, right?
Yeah, it was just decimated in ZBrush, which is honestly how we do 90% of the hard surface things. Will, if you start in quads and you're not using ZBrush, that will usually stay in quads. But anything organic, brick wall, chipped up floors, architecture, anything going into ZBrush usually will just decimate it like this.
And if a student was to have this level of topology, they're probably going to dread, how on earth do I unwrap this? Do I need Rhizome UV? Can I do it in Max, MIRO, Blender? What's like a good holistic approach to tackle this monstrous triangle beast?
So a little context, this piece we're looking at here is not very large. This is about a 1 meter by half meter step for some stairs. So I don't know if people see this and go in their minds think it's a very large thing. It's
not. I thought that was a boulder.
No. This is a small stair for like feet to go.
Okay, cool.
So yeah, just for scale context. So if you try to unwrap this in Blender or Maya, it will probably crash. That is just the nature of the poly counts increasing and Maya not stepping up their game.
Yeah.
I kind of like unwrapping in Maya, but it just doesn't do well with anything nanite to poly count. So Rhizome is the solution. Rhizome doesn't really care. It'll chew through this and you can unwrap this in a few minutes in Rhizome.
Rhizome, I believe, is a third-party unwrapper available for most 3D DCCs, I believe.
Yeah, it's kind of a hassle to get things in and out of it because you have to like import and export out of it.
Yeah.
But its UI is not, and this is just my opinion, it's not super intuitive. Like you really need to watch some tutorials. But once you figure out how to use it, you can unwrap something like this so fast, much faster than Maya. And there's no lag. Like if I was to select some seams and say cut in Maya, it's probably going to sit there for 10 minutes and who knows if it ever recovers. Unwrapping this in Rhizome, it's instantaneous. So yeah, for most assets like this, we're unwrapping in Rhizome.
Oh, perfect. I'm really glad you brought up the scale thing because I know in my mind I was imagining this. So it does change the context quite a lot if this is a step for a foot,
Way
and the topology level in a step is that's going to be really good for people to see, because for a step we're talking like you say 1 meter sort of space as well. When you do sculpts, what's a good way to, let's say somebody's doing a level, right? This person's sculpting up some steps and they're sculpting up pillars. I see that they're using some noises, maybe some alphas, noisemaker. How did they get consistency? Whereas obviously a surface shader, you can get it consistent across every mesh. But if you're adding noise into the sculpt, what are some ways to mitigate having blurry noise on some assets, sharper noise on others, if you're authoring in ZBrush?
I mean, the first thing I would say is make sure you're using enough points or they're called points when you smooth something down. If you know the amount of points, you sort of know your triangle count or quad count in ZBrush, but use a lot. So something like this is probably 4 to 5 million points.
Oh, okay.
So that way, when you're dragging on alphas, you're using the noisemaker, or like Boolean is very popular now. You're getting plenty of resolution, and you're going to, when you bake, even at 1024, baking this down, you're going to lose a little bit of detail. That's fine. You want that to be the case. You don't want it to be you didn't put enough detail in and then you bake it and it's just you started out blurry. So again, that's a common thing I see with people just getting into sculpting. If they don't they're sculpting on something like 200K. It's like, oh no, that's never going to realize its potential when you go to bake it. So yeah, be in the millions.
In the millions. Yeah, that's the way I'd say. That's the way. And it's okay to add alphas and surface noise. For example, if someone drags alphas on, they're not cheating, are they, Nate? They don't have to sculpt every bit of noise in themselves, do they?
Well, it depends on a few factors. So if you try to do it all by hand, it will, to some degree, take longer, and it will just look a little bit stylized. That's just the nature of the beast. If you can match photoreal with hand sculpting, one, it took you a long time, and two, you're a great sculptor. So it's not cheating at all. Usually what I try to do is like 80% by hand, and that's usually pretty fast. So if I was sculpting something like this, I might spend an hour just figuring out where I want the dings and the dents and the shape. But once I want the fine detail, I just start grabbing height map based alphas, because they come from reality and they just look more realistic than what I can do by hand. And then just start dragging them on or masking them on or applying them to the noisemaker. You can take the noisemaker and you can apply a height map to it, which is kind of like a little hidden feature in ZBrush. But yeah, most of the detail in this is done through photo scan height maps. Saves a lot of time, looks better. So no, it's not cheating. No, I mean, this is art. If you're in a AAA studio, you couldn't spend a week sculpting this. You would need to get it done in a day or two or something. So yeah, that's not cheating at all. It looks better and saves time.
I have noticed that with a lot of the Sony Santa Monica artists in their tutorials, you folks will drag on the alphas and you'll knock them back with trim dynamics, so you mix it up a little bit, which is really cool. I think I saw at some point a few years ago, you started, instead of sculpting back damage, Nate, you started to actually use live Boolean to knock the damage back and then sculpt on top of it. Is that something you're still rocking nowadays, or?
So I use live Boolean quite a bit, but it's not good for everything, because it gives you a perfectly sharp edge where you create the Boolean and they intersect. That edge is always extremely perfectly sharp. And you can polish it. You can blend it a little bit, but it gives the appearance of more harder stone. Like if you're doing a marble or a really hard granite, live Boolean is great. If you're doing like a sandstone or something that never really has a sharp edge, it doesn't work as well. So it's a good technique depending on what type material you're doing.
Yeah, I think that makes sense. I have one quick question before we jump to rolls, because I don't want to take up too much more of your time. When sculpting trims, because of the organic nature of it, How do you avoid the organic seam between the tiling part? So you've got your trim, you start sculpting one end, it doesn't match the other end. Are you using any tricks there to make sure the sculpt itself? Because once with sub D, tile, no problem. You're increasing alphas, stone. How do you tile that? How do you avoid a seam, Nate?
So if you're making this just in Blender or Maya or Match or something, you're not going to have a seam problem. I'm assuming you're talking about if you go into ZBrush and you start denting it and dinging it.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
So there's a couple of ways around it. The first one is when you're making a tiling, let's say this is 4 meters wide.
Yeah.
On the high poly in ZBrush, you give it a little bit extra on the sides.
Okay.
So that you don't accidentally create a seam. So if you bring this in and again, it's 4 meters and you run Dynamesh on it, it's going to round out those edges and you've just made a seam right from the start.
Yeah.
So usually for a trim, give it a little bit extra. If you can keep it to so there's a thing in ZBrush called wrap mode. But it's very weird because it works on a 2 centimeter, I guess a 2. This is weird because ZBrush defaults to centimeters. If you take the plane, the ZBrush plane, excuse me.
Sorry.
If you take that plane and import it into Maya, it's only a 2 centimeter plane.
Yeah.
And 2 centimeters in ZBrush is where it does its tiling. So if you do wrap mode, you can paint from one edge to the other seamlessly, but it needs to be 2 centimeters. If it's 1 or 4, that doesn't work.
Okay.
So if you have a 4 centimeter or a 4 meter trim, you can bring in a ZBrush, scale it down 50%, and then wrap mode will work. And then you just need to undo that at some point in the process. But that's very complicated. Honestly, the easiest answer is we just stay away from the edges. We'll put all the in areas and just give ourselves some buffer room. And this is going to go into Painter at some point, and textures will go across it and make it seamless. We just keep the big dents away from the edges.
So you do your stuff around here, but then when you reach the end, it's like, I don't want any of that noise. We'll fix it in post.
Yeah, I mean, you can fix quite a bit in Painter, but yeah, just stay away from the edges is probably the easiest thing to do.
Awesome, perfect, and that's really good to hear because that's a big one. A lot of students used to run into with sculpted Trimsheets. More sort of recent wireframes. So what's Artsheet? Is it a block out? Is it different to a block out? Is it just terminology you folks use over there and carry over? What is an Artsheet?
So Artsheet is pretty much a proprietary term. It originated at Santa Monica Studio, and this was way back in like the God of War 1 and 2 days. The designers would do their design, which was very rudimentary shapes, like a block. There'd be a block and then a plane and then a pillar. And you go, what's the block? And they go, oh, that's a castle. Okay, cool. What's the pillar? Like, oh, well, that's a fight arena, But that's for them, that's all they need to figure out the spatial size of the levels they're making. And for us to figure out, okay, what is this going to be? We created this intermediate step where we take the design block out and we do pretty fast modeling. So if you look at Raul's stuff there, that was all pretty quickly done. And he's just trying to figure out, okay, how can I interpret the design sheet into, level art? And so it's this intermediate stage where we do our best to try to make sense of the design sheet. And then from here, we'll take it to concept art and paint over it and figure out more of the details. But yeah, it's pretty much Artsheet is just interpretation, making sense of a design sheet, which they don't usually think about art stuff. They're like, oh, I need a fight paste here and I need a puzzle here. So we have to look at it and be like, okay, what could this be? And that's what Artsheet solves.
Oh, I see. So is this topology? Is this Artsheet topology? So the topology, if this was a wireframe here on the right, the beauty shot, would that be more like different, like quadded every meter or so, or would you say that would be the game topology that we're seeing on the left?
So I believe in this case, this was his Artsheet topology. That's not the final topology.
Okay.
That's just for Artsheet. And if you look below, that's I was just mentioning the design sheet. That's what we from design is something that looks like that. And so, yeah, if you were to see the wireframe of what Raoul finished with at the end, it's much more dense than the
okay.
top part. That's not, yeah. So that top part is not the final wireframe.
It's cool because, you know, if you're going in, you just throw stuff and work out the shapes. You don't have to be perfect with your topology. I know a lot of students will be like, oh, I need to make this really clean, but find the shapes, it seems like, and then refine over the course of, I don't know, what are we looking at here? Are we looking at a year, 6 months? Like what's a good turnaround for a level like this?
Well, so Raoul is one of the industry best environment artists, and he came in to Respawn. We were both on Ragnarok, and then he started about the same time I did at Respawn and Star Wars, and he did not have a long time to make this. He had about a year and a few months, maybe. So he was able to pull it off through blood, sweat, and tears, and just he's experienced. He knows what to do. But typically, this for a level in a game, you need a few years per level.
Wow, okay.
Sometimes longer. I mean, sometimes we work on levels for 3 to 4 years, honestly, which I know it throws students for a loop because their expectation for what they can get done in like, so I've taught like a 10-week class and I'm going to make an environment like this. I'm like,
yeah.
That was a senior artist. I mean, Raoul was a senior too. So he's like all-star senior artist working on this for, you know, a year and change. In 10 weeks, you're not going to make something that looks like that. It takes a long time. I mean, 2018 God of War was a 5-year dev cycle. That's making art the whole time.
Yeah. I know that for anyone watching, we're not just talking about just this shot. You know, we're talking about, you know, this is like an entire zone, right? Entire biome of a planet. And when you get the design mesh, some folks may worry. They may say, oh, I need to stick to this 100%. But I notice again in Raoul's work, I guess we're looking at a year of development plus here. Some of the forms have changed. So, you know, the slant in the roof here is different. You know, how does that, is that an organic process, or, you know, do you have to stick to it 100%, or can you negotiate things over time? You know, how does that process work?
We negotiate. I mean, an environment artist will be paired up with a level designer, and you know, Raoul probably checked with the designers like, can I flatten this? Do you have any? Because there are metrics, right? So games have certain jump height, or the double jump will go this far. So we do need to stick to some things, but other things like the ceiling has no impact really on gameplay. So he was probably able to flatten that out, no problem. But there's a lot of back and forth with design. This is a lot of what I do now in my day job, is like looking at design blockouts and being like, can we move that? Can that be higher? Yes, no. Oh, there's a fight here, so the floor needs to be relatively flat. A lot of negotiating.
That's good to hear. It's just one of those things, right? After, you want to have a good bond with your designer as well. I can imagine if you don't get on with your designer, that year process becomes quite painful.
Yeah, I mean, there's always naturally some friction between those departments. I mean, generally people get along great and get stuff done. Just the goals are different. Art wants it to look like a believable space, but a lot of times metrics just don't create a believable space. Like, you never see anything like this in the real world, right? I mean, it's kind of gamey. So we always want to kind of hide the design. What's the word? Like the design metrics and like, yeah, just the functionality. We want that to be integrated more. But a lot of times for designers, they need that to be seen, or else the gamer gets lost. Yes. So it's just a tug of war of, you know, how much do we let the design show through? Because if Raoul took this and made it look just completely beautiful, it wouldn't be a playable level.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, both sides just negotiate and, you know, compromise till we get something that works. But that, yeah, again, that takes years. Yeah. A level like this is not made in 30 days.
Yeah, long dev cycle, which is good as well. Nate, dude, this has been awesome. One final question. We're coming up on 45 minutes. Maybe controversial, but I believe you're big on texture density, and I've heard you say in past talks that your trim sheets are designed for the piece they're going on to. But a lot of trim sheet tutorials and a lot of studios, I know at least in the UK, we will scale trim sheets to our heart's content because it's flexible, which breaks texel density. So
Right.
what's the movement forward? So if we want to keep texel density, do we avoid scaling our trim sheets and make them for the piece, or how do we come across that? How do we tackle that issue? Because we're breaking TD in a few places doing that.
Yeah, and I ended up for whatever reason talking about texel density a lot. Maybe it's because it's the thing. The texel density in the grid seems like people get out of school and they've never been taught it.
Yeah.
And it's like a fundamental you need to have. You can break it. There's a lot of reasons that it's fine to break texel density, like things off in the distance, like mountains in a video game or a building that's like a couple 100 meters away. That's not a texel density. There's no reason. Texel density is only for the things that are fairly up close. And it only exists really so that you don't see something blurry next to something sharp, because that never happens in the real world. And when you see that in a game, whether you realize it or not, it's an immersion breaker.
Yeah.
You may notice that it's wrong, or you may not, but everyone to some degree will internalize it and, okay, I'm in a simulation because the real world does not do that.
Yeah.
So can you scale objects? If you can get up close to them, you run the risk of having something blurry next to something sharp. And listen, lots of games, I'm not going to name any, but a lot of games break this.
Yeah.
And they are great games. Their award-winning games break this.
Yeah.
I think it's better to not break it, but it really depends if you can notice it. And one thing I'll add is texel density means less every generation. So back on the PlayStation 2, we were 32 pixels per meter, which was very blurry. If you were off a little bit, man, it was obvious. And it just...
Yeah.
Now at 1024 per meter, if something is at 1024 and the thing next to it's at 700, it's honestly not as noticeable. So I think everyone tries, but there's times when it just has to break. Yeah. But if I'm running through a level and people are taking a tree and scaling it up 4 times, I will probably request that they don't do that. If they're scaling up 1.2 or 1.5 and you can't tell, that's fine. Remember, because it's all just the end of the day. You don't want to see the blurry next to the sharp.
Yeah, 100%. Oh, we've got to hide this from Nate. Let's put some foliage in front of it. He's going to see it all.
I mean, dude, games are really taped together like that. There's a lot of...
Yeah. We
had a level in the last game I worked on where just the nature of the design was at these strange angles. Yeah. Things couldn't come together correctly. Mm. And so we devised a set dressing goop of crystals.
Oh, yeah.
That would go between, and you would not see that things were slammed together, and it looked beautiful. But it's we're just kind of covering. Okay, cover that. That happens quite a bit. We just do whatever we can to hide it.
Yeah, my go-to meme is the Homer Simpson one where he's got abs at the front and he's taped all his fat behind his back. I'm like, that's game dev. Pretty from the front.
You see the people that do those speed runs. Oh goodness, they fly through the levels
jump everywhere.
You see how we're doing it. It's all smoke and mirrors.
Yeah, that's the game dev. Nate, dude, I super appreciate you coming on to give a talk about topology. Again, I've said before, you are one of my biggest inspirations for environment art. And just this information is gold. So I really appreciate it, dude. Is there anything you want to tell the folks? Where can they find you? Where can they find some of your courses? I'm going to put some of your stuff below, but what's going on in Nate's world at the moment?
I've been doing my day job is I'm art director of a unannounced game at Respawn. So that takes up most of my time. That's not a 5-hour day job. It's 8 hours plus. We were just in pre-production, so I did teach a few CGMA classes, but I was mainly filling in for one of the instructors. I don't do it anymore because I'm just out of time. I have been doing some mentorships here or there, but time is also becoming a factor. But pretty much anyone who reaches out to me, I like to help. I generally think there's a lot of misinformation in the industry, or dated information is probably a better thing. So I have a lot of people that just poke me on Discord, and we talk. So I can be found on Discord. I'm not hard to find. A lot of people leave messages for me on ArtStation, and then we connect on Discord. But I I have a ton of people that we just chat with all the time. I don't have like an official server or anything. But yeah, I like to teach. I taught at Noman for 5 or 6 years, their environment class. Really like that too. It's just finding the time. But yeah, people can track me down easily. I like to help out where I can.
Awesome, yeah. And I'm going to drop all those links from your Nomon courses, your mentorships. I'll drop them in the description below. But thanks again, Nate. And folks, thank you very much. Hope you enjoyed the video. For now, peace.
Thank you. Bye.